Hi, this is Hướng back again. If you happen to see this video somewhere on the internet, I'm Hướng. I'm teaching English and I'm living in Hanoi. But sometimes I have classes in Ho Chi Minh City too. Vietnamese is my mother tongue, but I keep speaking English in my videos just to show you that an ordinary person with an average IQ like me can really learn to speak English fluently. So if you can do it, you can do it too. And in this video, I'm going to talk about 3 important things that create what we call a solid foundation for English learners. And there are 3 areas that we need to master, because they will help you shorten your learning curve. And you're going to learn English much faster and much easier with this foundation. And you won't be wasting your time with unnecessary doubts and questions. And failing to master these 3 areas can make you feel like walking in darkness without seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. And then you might be wondering how many more years you're going to have to spend to really be able to speak English comfortably and confidently, or to simply watch those TV shows or movies without keeping your eyes on the subtitles. Now let's come back to the basics. What are the main components which form a language? The first thing you may notice is that every language has a set of basic sounds. In English, we have sounds like A or O, which are called vowels, or P or Ch, Z, which are called consonants. And these sounds are put together in different ways to form different words. For example, pay or chase, or pose, or chose. If you think about it, hundreds of thousands of words in English are actually formed by a limited number of basic sounds. And then these words are put together in certain orders to create sentences. And sometimes a word can be altered a little bit to express different meanings. So, given those 3 components, basic sounds, words, and sentence, there are 3 areas that you need to master accordingly. And the first one is phonology. Well, you don't have to worry about this jargon. Linguists call it phonology, but I'm just going to call it a set of basic sounds. And all you have to do is to learn these sounds so that you can first recognize which words a native speaker is saying, and second, produce them correctly. I really want to emphasize the word recognize, because recognizing a sound is one of the 2 critical elements that help you listen well. Without this, chances are that it might take you much more time for you to master your listening skills. So I'm going to talk about it later, but for now, just keep in mind that this one is really important. And the second thing you need to do is to be proficient with at least 1,000 most commonly used words in English. And I want to emphasize the word proficient. Because these are words that form all basic sentence patterns, and sentence patterns deliver main ideas. Here's what many people don't realize. Every time we listen to someone or say something, we don't have enough time to worry about every single word. We just have time to very quickly capture the patterns and then to focus on the specific words that deliver the details. For example, if you listen to a sentence like, "Do you really need a smartphone?" then your brain doesn't have time to listen to every single word. You must be able to immediately capture the pattern. Do you really need a ... That's a pattern. And then your brain will have time to focus on the detail, which is smartphone. And that's how you listen. And I'm going to talk more about it later, but for now, just be aware that it's not enough to just know these words. You've got to be proficient with them. Another problem is most people, when learning new words, tend to focus more on their written forms. They don't pay much attention to the sounds, but in listening and speaking, sounds are actually much more important. And the third thing you need to do is to learn which form of a word to choose, which words to use, or in what orders to put them together. Well, I'm talking about grammar. And grammar, it has been a controversial issue recently where many people who are following the modern way of learning English is going for what we call a not learning grammar strategy. And I think this information should be corrected a little bit. What they do want to say is not learning grammar. It's actually not learning grammar rules or not learning grammar formulas. So there's a misunderstanding that we don't need to learn grammar. Or even worse, many people who used to learn grammar in a traditional way before may think like, oh, I mistakenly learned grammar before, now grammar killed my speaking. No, it's not true. It is not the grammar, but the rules and formulas that can affect your fluency. That's why I would prefer to use terms like structures or patterns to avoid misunderstanding grammar as formulas, like verb plus to plus verb infinitive and all those things. In fact, everyone who managed to master a language did learn grammar in one way or another. If you notice how kids learn the mother tongue, you will see that they make a lot of mistakes in the early stage. And it can be choosing a wrong word or putting words in a wrong order. And then every time they make a mistake, the parents correct them, and that's how they learn grammar in a natural way. And whether or not you study grammar with rules and formulas or in a natural way, a more important thing is this. You must practice in some way to forget all those rules. Yes, I'm serious. Because you won't be able to speak fluently if you still have to think in your head, like which form of a word should I use now, or in what order should I put this word, before or after. So it doesn't work. It's just like when you learn to ride your motorbike. So the first time you climbed on your motorbike, you had to remember which way to turn your grip. If you wanted to accelerate, maybe clockwise or counterclockwise, you had to remember where the front and the rear brakes are. And if your bike was a manual gearbox one, things would be even more complicated. But then you needed some time to practice so that now you can just write without thinking. And English grammar is the same. You must practice to forget them, but we do need to learn them first. The good news is it won't take too much time. There are about 44 basic sounds, about 1,000 most commonly used words, and about 30 grammar categories. This number can vary depending on how you categorize them, and they're worth your time, because once you have mastered these three areas, other issues like listening or reading or presenting, speaking or writing will become much easier. So make sure you spend time with this. We'll meet again, but until then, take action, do something, and sparkle today, and tomorrow you'll be shining.